It is, of course, the hit game Ants Under Attack. It's King's Quest 5. Oh, and here's the song that plays when you save them. You throw a stick or something and the dog goes away. And the ant king, queen thanks you. And then later on saves your life by like untying knots in a rope when you're tied up in a basement or something. I can't recall exactly what happens, but it's something like that. Nice one, Sean. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it's classic. Hi everyone. Hi. It's so hot, Alex. I took my dog for a walk and I was wearing jeans and I was like, well, that was a mistake. The swim trunks come out. I'm just for the beach right now. I'm not at the beach at all. I will not be at the beach all day. I have like the Center for Digital Media here in town I'm putting this instead. Here you go. The Center for Digital Media, it's like well, there's a variety of things there. There's like tech companies, but primarily it is a school as well. And they have their student showcase tonight. So I'll be going to that. I don't know if I'll wear this. It's like a businessy business thing. But they're all showing off what they've been doing all year. And they got booths out with their portfolios and so forth. So, yeah, my mouse has been like clicking on its own also. So this might be a wild stream. Hardware failures. Maybe it's the heat. I don't know. Is that a thing? Does heat have an effect on mouse contacts? I don't know. It's been like clicking on its own, or double clicking when I click one time, or just like letting go when I click and drag. Like if I just hold this and click and drag it, gone. Let's see. It's like no. So I think it's just going. It's aging. Aging gear. I hope everyone's doing all right and you're surviving the heat. Yanni, yeah, exactly right. Matt Callahan, Alex Cap, Shoo. How you doing? How's everyone doing today? Natasha, thank you for hanging out. Today we have a very exciting stream for you. I mean, I assume. I don't know. Jake Mulholland and Oscar Anderlind. Here in Sweden, we have pouring rain. Yeah, typically in Vancouver as well, but right now, not so much. Not so much. Isakizzy. Is it an I? Isaac Izzy? Let's go with Isaac. Or something. Hi, I'm Oscar. First time message, I think. Oh, it sure is. It sure is. Look at this. It says right there. First time message. There you go. Isaac Izzy. Got it. Okay, welcome. John Gap. Hello, my friend. Good to see you. I'm glad to hear Oscar. Jake, should be here? Jake was hitting me up in like May saying, oh, I'm so sorry I'm sending my stuff so late. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like a month plus away still, my friend. So perhaps we'll see Jake roll in too. We'll do Oscars first, I guess, since you're here, of course. We'll give Jake some time to get here. Perhaps we'll get the Twitter notification a bit later or something. Yeah, this is Real Talk. For those of you here for the first time, we are looking at a couple game audio sound design portfolios. Oh, some demo reels, websites, etc. And is this Celeste I see? And is this a record light in the middle of an O? Is that what I see right there? What's happening here? What's going on? We got this, we got this. It's a well-suited stream so far, suited site. Okay, see, double click. Just click by itself. We are looking at some game audio sound design demo reels. with the intent of offering some constructive critiques, some ideas regarding how one might move forward, where to focus your efforts next, where to level up your skills next, etc., etc. So we're going to be looking at this from a few different angles. First up is presentation. We're already in that space right now, looking at this page a little bit. We're scrolling down. Just general navigation stuff, information stuff. Nothing too crazy on that front. We just sort of say, hey, is it looking nice? Can I find the stuff I need? Is there too much to look at? All that. And then for the demo reel, how long is it, Oscar? It is 1:11. 1:11. And, oh my goodness, it's going. The Flight to Serenia. You know it. So we look at the length, the general flow. If there's like an opening little splash screen, some bookends, contact info, all the lower thirds at the bottom. It looks tasteful at a glance. we'll see what happens, I guess. So we're looking at all that stuff, all the stuff that is not just the audio itself and the content. Then for material selection, we look at the pieces chosen for the demo reel and like what might appear in the portfolio if there is one. Seems there is one. And what those selected works might suggest to someone coming in blind about what this person's focus is, what their past work history has looked like and their current skill sets, and what they might want to be doing in the future. And hopefully that is communicated in some way, because if it's not, then what happens is you apply for a role and perhaps the folks you're applying to are like, what does Oscar actually want to do though? We got some Call of Duty, we got some Short Hike, like completely different games. And then whereas someone else may be applying and their reel is very focused, and not only that, it's focused in the kind of works that the studio they're applying to works on. So that it just looks like a better fit right away. Even though Oscar might be amazing, just a great sound designer, someone else has indicated that they may be a safer bet. That's all. So ideally, we're going to have an idea of what Oscar wants to be doing. I mean, Celeste is here. Perhaps some indie stuff. We're going to find out. The third thing is content quality. We're taking a look at the sound of the stuff. Does it sound good? Is there room to improve? Is it hitting that industry standard of awesome that we're always aiming for, or hopefully exceeding if we can? Innovating wherever we can. And if there's room to improve, which there probably is, I will be happy to offer you my own ideas about that. And there's a lot of very talented folks in the chat too, who I'm sure will be happy to offer their own thoughts as well. The last thing, distinction. Just, are you standing out in some positive way? As there are a lot of people looking for those roles. And if you are not standing out in some way at least, maybe not even in your audio, just in some way to have a solid impression, that first impression. If you're not doing that, you're going to fade into the background and be forgotten. And it's kind of unfortunate and sad and maybe even a little mean to say, but it just is the case, because there are hundreds of people who are looking for these roles. Oftentimes it is one opening only, and there are hundreds of people looking for that single role. So it is up to you to make yourself impossible to ignore. That is your goal. Otherwise, it's just, you might be absolutely adequate or even great for the role, but it just might be that someone else has, like I said, indicated that they are the less risky decision when it comes to a hire. So you got to remove any chance of this potential employer, collaborator, whatever. Remove any potential of them looking at your stuff and saying, seems risky. Because if that happens, they're not going to hire you. And if you stand out in some positive way, they'll be like, oh, damn, this person's pretty good. And even if you don't get hired, they hire somebody else. You'll stand out in memory. And then perhaps their friend needs audio. And that person's like, oh, check out this person. They missed my role by just a nose, you know? I say this from experience. I absolutely, personally, Power Up, as a crew, we absolutely recommend people that, for example, didn't get the role that Natasha got, who's in the chat. Like, there are people who were absolutely shortlisted, and we have absolutely sent people to as referrals. So we know they're good, of course, right? Made a great impression. Let's move on, though, shall we? Oscar, are you ready? Ziamas. Ziamas? I'm going to call you Oscar, if that's all right. King's Quest, settle down. No more of that. Ready. Let's go. Okay, we got OscarAnderlind.com. I'll post in the chat if you're curious to check it out for yourself. There you go. And it is a homepage. Maybe across horizontally looks like. So we got portfolio. Nice little fade. Some rocks in the background. Okay. Gameplay, sound design. Celeste from Maddie Makes Games. We got sound redesign and Fmod implementation. And Crowsworn. Cool. Mongoose Rodeo. Yes. Excuse me. The sound redesign. Okay. We got... what's exciting is this is actually in Fmod. And sometimes we see, or I have seen, plenty of Celeste redesigns that are just linear. But we put the Fmod project out there. I'm sure most of the chat knows that, but if you didn't, it's true. You can go to the Fmod website and download the entire source content of Celeste, sound and music, an Fmod project. You can connect it to the game you purchased on Steam, and you can mess with the mix of the game you bought. It's a thing you can do. And that means you can replace sounds, you can replace music, you can make new banks and make mods, all kinds of stuff. So please have at her. Oscar, I'm so happy you've made use of this thing. Amazing. Warms my damn heart. Moving on. Hob! That's a cool redesign. I don't know if I've seen a Hob redesign before. Why haven't I seen a Hob redesign before? That seems like an obvious good choice. What's happening here? Both contain... Oh, I see. This is like text that applies to both videos. That's why it's in the center. I was thinking it was offset. Like these are left to right. This is center. But this is like a little subtext. In the Zelda clip, I recorded and synthesized every sound myself, except birds and frogs. Okay, got it. All right, Unity Fmod stuff, personal project, awesome. Cinematic sound design, Arcane, The Last Bastion, and The Call, and some MISC stuff. Interactive art installation, school project. PD. All right. Pure data. Very fun. It's not the most common thing to see. This is fun so far, Oscar. I haven't even heard anything, and it's fun to look at. I'm kind of excited to dig in. I don't think you... This struck me as strange, though. Like the rocks background portfolio. Like, why is it rocks? Am I missing a theme? We got rocks. We got outdoorsy stuff here, I guess. We got contact. We got a musical pooch and more outdoorsy stuff. Same outdoors. This isn't where that rocks picture is, though, is it? Look at the ground. It's like a forest floor and some mossy rocks, some mossy boulders. Home. What's here? Your studio space, I assume. Why is it rocks? It just struck me as like a stock image, and I think that you've got a lot of personality everywhere else in your page. Like you're showing us your face and your space and your dog and stuff, and then you just have these rocks. So kind of, this seems out of place. And then also, this page is not long enough to need these buttons, I don't think. Like, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it just, if I zoom out, I mean, gameplay sound, the massive bar across the light green makes it real easy to see what I'm looking at. I think that this can just be gone. It's not like it's obviously not like a death sentence thing. This isn't a red flag. I'm just thinking about cleaning things up a bit. I love trimming fat wherever it's possible, right? So we got Swedes in the chat today. The Swede takeover. It's happening. I am slightly Swedish also. I'm 1/4 actually, or one. Yeah, 1/4. That's right. My grandpapa was born, yes, in Sweden. Okay, about me, Oscar. Let's go. Hello. My name is Oscar. I grew up in a very small town, 3,000 people, but moved to Karlshamn, Sweden in 2020 to study sound design at BTH. Okay. While my love for video games, problem solving, and creativity has always been there, I never knew in what shape those interests would combine. That was until I found a Foley recording video a few years back and was instantly hooked. Why is hooked bolded? That's so funny. What inspires me most in audio is creating sound for objects, characters, and places that don't exist in our real world. Sure. From intricate door openings to swirling magic. To swirling magic, period. Projects where I can really let my creativity run wild. That's a sentence fragment. Yeah, these are both sentence fragments, I think. Recently, however, I've gotten more and more interested in the sounds of Foley, capital F this time, compared to that one, and how much detail and character it can provide. I love turning my kitchen upside down in the search for the perfect sound. I literally was recording a cutting board yesterday, trying to... I can't record the real thing that I can't tell you what it was supposed to be. I shouldn't tell you, at least for the time being. But yeah, it's like a plastic cutting board, and I was like slapping it and stuff. So trying to figure out what that was supposed to be. I don't know if it's going to work out or not, but that's what I was recording. Outside of making sounds, I also like to stay creative. I enjoy listening to and making music as well as playing games. I also enjoy photography and painting along with Bob Ross. That's very cute. Okay, and beneath here, got a little rig. While audio is my main passion, I am and have always been very passionate about all parts of game development and would love to be a part of a team where the roles of development overlap and interact. That's a cool thing to clarify in your... I can't click and drag. This is so frustrating. And we're creating as a collaborative effort. Yeah, I mean, the Celeste team is very that, right? I did like playtesting and QA and design feedback and stuff. I am always eager to learn and to both share and receive. What? I'm always eager to learn, comma, and to both share and receive information and feedback. Yeah, I think the multiple ands kind of threw me for a loop there. Like exchange? Maybe both share and receive as we exchange. I'm always eager to learn, and I'm eager to exchange information and feedback. This is a weird sentence in general, I think. Like, do you need this here? How about you? I feel like you can indicate, like you can show us that you like learning just by what you've worked on, you know? That seems easy enough to see that. I think in general, it's like the show don't tell is always more powerful. It's like doing comics and stuff, right? I mean, games too, really. Show don't tell is really powerful. Yeah, this strikes me as a strange way to finish this here. But otherwise, cool. Yeah, I think that this is a little bit of an interesting take on the I am passionate about game audio, which we always see in bios, and every person is passionate about game audio. But clarifying that you want to be multifaceted and contribute in multiple ways. It's cool. Interesting. Absolutely too. I mean, some teams we talk to when we're kind of in a not even a negotiation phase yet, but more just like an exploration of if this is even a good fit. Less of us selling ourselves to them or them selling themselves to us. Just like both of us being like, is this going to work? It's going to be like, are we good for each other? You know? That comes up certainly because Power Up as a team, we definitely do like to be in the trenches a bit more than some teams might, I suspect. So things like we're at the booth at PAX, you know? They're showing the game. We're right there each day, just handing controllers and like pins and stuff to the public. And that's where we want to be, right? And in some cases, there are teams that are like, oh, no, like we'll take care of that. Or we'll say, hey, we want to be like on your Slack team and interacting with your crew and so forth. And they'll be like, no, we'll email you once a week. That's all we need you for. And in that case, I mean, great. If they found what works for them, that's fine. But it's just like not going to be a good fit for us. So having this kind of thing here, some teams want this, right? They want to have someone who's rolling in and helping out in a variety of ways. So this kind of thing is cool to see. I don't know that I've ever seen that on a page before. That's a cool clarification to make. Hi, Glenn. Good to see you, buddy. Did you get my email or what? You coming? That's the question. Are you coming? Because I hope so. Hope you and Mark can make it. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then hit me after or check your junk folder or something. And we'll try and figure it out. Okay, you did. All right. We'll be patient. Get back when you can. Okay. We got some favorite things. Favorite albums, games. I think this is weird saying like favorite as a header is strange. Favorites? Like music, games, maybe. Portal 2, Celeste, and the Strawberry Jam collab. That's pretty specific. Slay the Spire, Hollow Knight. Yeah, Silk Song's coming soon, of course. Battle Royale, cool. All right, so we'll move on. Contact page, right? We saw the pooch before, jamming out. Good. Does LinkedIn have a capital I? Is that a thing? LinkedIn. It does have a capital I. There you go. I'm such a nitpicking jerk, huh? I apologize. But yeah, capital I. There you go. Oh, you're at a wedding. Okay. Well, no sweat. Figure it out. I trust you. What a stickler. I know, right, Colin? My lord. I mean, the thing is, people would like apply to Power Up Audio, you know? If I search Power Up Audio in like an incog window, as the kids say, like this, right? Power Up Audio. There it is. That's our preferred presentation of the words, right? And then people would apply to us, and in their cover letter, it's like Power Up with like a lowercase u and then space audio. And it's like, mine friend. Just Google us first. It's like misspelling a name, you know? Like a person's name. Small courtesy. That's all it is. Let's have a look at a demo reel. Shall we? We're going to crank it up on the Windows volume mixer. We're going to crank it up here and go full screen. It's going to play nice in the embed. Sometimes not. We'll see what happens. I think we'll be okay. Oh, I'll change no sidechain also. We're getting geared up here. 3, 2, 1, and go. Yeah, Sean, if I move back and forth, you can see that your frame rate's probably fine. I imagine. Yeah, Natasha, exactly. I was trying to like, I thought the chat would be like, what's going on here? So I was trying to move back and forth a little bit. Like, yeah, people can just like see for themselves that it's choppy. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second, Oscar. Is the video not supposed to be choppy? Because if it's like a weird video thing, let's go to the actual YouTube page. Oh my lord, it's so different. Is it the embed that's causing that? I was ready to be like, yo, you gotta deal with that frame rate, Oscar. Come on, man. But look at this, right? Compared to, oh lordy. Okay, screw this. I even said like, how's the embed? Oh, it's okay. Man, don't use the embed then, Oscar, because you risk people being like, oh, this is distracting and awful, you know? That's my reaction. This is distracting and awful. Yeah. Unfortunately. We're going to watch it again, though. Everyone just, no one saw a thing. Forget everything you saw. And we are going to do it again. I'm so happy that this is not just so choppy, because we can talk about real things and not like, fix your video, you know? Celeste! Amazing! I had no idea. Let's go. Cool. Why is auto 360? 720? Is it also bad quality by default? Like, how's the... No, actually, it's still kind of blurry. Yeah, the titling and video quality is still not super crisp, is one thing, Oscar. But, yeah, like, way tolerable. It's fine. It's tolerable. It's just things like that. I mean, it probably is worth mentioning. Like, I absolutely did spend some time looking at how blurry the text was and be like, I wonder if that's on my end or if that's just the video or something. And the seconds I'm spending thinking about this are seconds that I'm not looking at your video. You know, I'm not looking at your work and adjudicating how cool it is. It's a consideration. If you can get this up to, you know, 1080 and looking sharp, I mean, that's only gonna be a good thing, right? Because yeah, it has no bearing on your sound design. It's just it's not like that has absolutely nothing to do with your ability to work in game audio, like your capacity for understanding the needs of some interactive media. It's not relevant, but it just removes obstacles between the person watching the work and them seeing how awesome you are. Like there's like obstacles in the way. There could be things like that choppy video. That's a massive, massive obstacle. And I know it's not you, but it is your website, you know? So it's up to you to be like, well, perhaps I just shouldn't use the embed because this is highly distracting. It's not unwatchable, but it's like, it is rough, obviously. The whole chat was like, oh God, this is awful. You were like, oh God, this is awful. Why is it so choppy, right? So you don't want that. Just try and make it as clean as, I mean, the best reels we've seen on this stream, and myself personally, are the ones where it's like, all right, let's go. And it just grabs you by the collar and pulls you in and is like, look at this. It's amazing. and then you're just engaged and you're just immersed and focused the whole time. You're not thinking about like video quality and stuff, you know. Plays fine for you. Yeah, I have no idea then. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Have a look. Reference on some different machines or something, you know. Okay. So cool. I mean, nice work on the whole. I loved this sound right here. This little like stabby stab sound. I think it was here. Right there. I love that. Very fun. Okay. Let's talk about some presentation. It is 1 minute and 11 seconds long. I was okay with it. It's cute to have the Celeste text as the name of the reel. It's like a slightly deep cut, but the thing is, if you're looking to work in the indie space specifically, well, we'll talk about that too. It's not like assumable that indie developers would have played Celeste, but it is a bigger one, right? So it's well known-ish, certainly. So they may have broken a crystal heart of their own at some point in the past, and they would know this is a callback to that. It's kind of cute. And for those who don't get it, it's kind of fine. It's just like, oh, okay, they'll just read it as a title for your reel, and that's fine. So it's kind of a cool little callback. This is nice. Then we got Celeste by Matty Mix Games, sound redesign, implementation in Fmod. One thing is these two words I'd swap personally. I don't know. In the chat, implementation Fmod or Fmod implementation? Implementation in Fmod? I think Fmod makes sense, right? Fmod implementation. Alex Cab. The chat seems relatively unanimous so far. Fmod implementation. Audio implementation. Fmod. Less words, Alex. Okay. Cool. Yeah, swap these. It's slightly weird. You can do the Zvi-Sherman method. Are you familiar with the Zvi-Sherman method, Oscar? Josh rolls in, kill off the word implementation to say Fmod. There you go. Josh Adam Bell with the paradigm shift. Yeah, who needs this? Fmod. Boom. Sound redesign, parentheses, Fmod. Ugh. So good. Wonderful. Just, mwah. You were informed about said Zvi. Okay, good. Yeah, it's... Because you didn't do it, did you? I don't think. Did I miss it entirely? You did spell it right. Yeah, you're good. Right. Sidechain again, too. There we go. Yeah, so those who don't know, the gist is... So when it starts to fade out, like now, so like that, so you might have maybe like a few frames earlier, actually, like there or something. So you would start the clip full opacity, and then after 5 seconds, 7 seconds, whatever makes sense, you just fade to this instead. And it has this wonderful effect, if the person is reading it, to be like, this is no longer important. Eyes up top. And you're like, oh, and you go, boom, look up here again. And you get back to watching the show. It's a wonderful little psychological nudge. Just, chef's kiss. Amazing. Good help. All right, so then we have Zelda. Breath of the Wild. So BOTW in a demo reel, like this context, the context being your demo reel, this is a professional context. So yeah, Alex Cap is ahead of me here. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is probably what should read there, as opposed to Zelda BOTW. That's extremely abridged, and it's just like a courtesy thing and just professional thing. You call it exactly what it is. This is the game, you know? Can't hurt. It felt very long. Yeah, well, welcome to Nintendo projects. Well, then don't put in a redesign of Cadence of Hyrule, The Legend of Zelda featuring Crypt of the Necrodancer. All right, don't put that one in your reel. It's too long, far too long. Moving on. Then we got Hob Runic Games. Yeah, these are all fine. So, transition-wise, the opening one's fun. Glitch, glitch. Although it didn't really sync super hard. It kind of did, a little bit. First transition is glitchy. Second one is crossfade. Yeah, just a crossfade. It's kind of cute. I will admit I did not at all get the jelly transition into the, into this. It's probably intentional, right? It seems kind of cheeky, drifting down. It's even like a similar point in the arc. It's like up and poof, come down. It's cute. I didn't get that the first time through, but second time I did. So I don't know. Take from that what you will. I think because they're just so drastically different in their appearance for projects, right? It's not like I've seen before, there's like a 2 different AAA projects, and one is like, dude winds up, and then it goes boom, and it transitions like on the punch, and it's the same camera angle, so the cut is really obviously intentional, and it transitions beautifully into the next project. I think this is cute and cheeky, but just to let you know, it didn't like land with me personally, because I'm looking over here for one, and then he's over here again, and they just look so different. Super, super different projects, but it is cute. The Hob thing then. Is there a cheeky transition here too? Master Sword? Not really. Right? Just trees and then a door. Or a thing. A big articulating thing. This is a fun moment to redesign. This is cool. And then this transition is just, same thing, just goes up. It kind of resembles, like the striping and stuff and the coloration, resembles this stuff. I don't know if that was intentional, but it's a smooth transition. Like, all the transitions are definitely smooth and inoffensive. It's just a matter of, they're just not like standing out like crazy. So just be aware of that. Okay, and then let's talk about some content stuff. So, sorry, not content, some material selection stuff. So into what do we think Oscar wants to be working on? So we've already learned from the about, but you can assume Oscar, I think you probably know this, but for everyone else as well, you can assume that people are not going to read your about first. We do on Real Talk because we all want to learn who you are first and have some more context and stuff. And it's a nice little intro to today's guest, so to speak. But if you are applying for a role, it is assumable that they will land on your page, they'll press play, because they've already watched 30 other demo reels that day. They don't have time to meet 30 people. They just need to adjudicate, again, risk assessment and stuff, right? Like, is this person a good fit or not? So they'll watch this. And then, if they think you're awesome, they might go somewhere else they'll probably go somewhere else to like learn more on the about, or to, oh my God, I gotta get in contact right now. They might do that. Or they will look at your portfolio and say, oh, what was that Celeste thing? I want to see more of that. And hopefully there's some of that there. Whatever it is, your goal making the demo reel is like have an answer for it, right? But all that said, you can't rely on them knowing that you want to be like a multidisciplinary kind of team member just by watching this, right? So they have to watch the about or read the about to learn that. So ideally, from the reel alone, you want to give a good gist of the kind of project you want to work on. So Celeste is like III, just like indie teams who have shipped things before and have budgets and production timelines and stuff. This is Nintendo. This is very, very not indie at all. And then we have Hob Runic. is probably into like the triple I space also. I mean, I think the team when they made Hob was probably like 40 people, if I had to guess. Like they made Torchlight also. I don't think they're that big. That might even be on the high side, like 30 or something like that. I might just be totally wrong, but I think that's probably around that, like that ballpark. So yeah, like the kind of size team that Power Up would work with, certainly. So this is, and probably also the kind of team that would welcome a multidisciplinary individual, I'm guessing. Like that kind of size, it makes more sense. It makes less sense if you're working for EA, for instance. They'll bring you in and be like, hey, I want to work on playtesting, or like I want to work on like game design or level design or whatever. They'll be like, stay in your lane. You know, the larger the company gets, the more likely they'll want you to focus on like your tasks specifically and nothing else. So that said, this is kind of a mismatch for what you want to be doing. It doesn't super fit. But stylistically, it's nice. It shows like your taste and stuff, certainly, but this is not quite one-to-one with the kind of project that someone might be working on that they want to hire you for, right? And of course, Cross Warren's back into the indie space again too. So that's all fine. It really is up to you. Like if you are in love with this Zelda piece, you think that it is your best work and you need to show it off, then by all means. This can also just like live in a other redesigns page. You know, you have more things over there, right? What did I see there? There was a few things that didn't appear here, like the Bastion thing you have in there, and yeah, Arcane, the Call. So there are things here that are not in your reel, and that's great. That's really cool. Okay, I gotta watch this, right? Not in the page though, Jesus. And hold up, let's finish on the reel first. I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's talk about some content stuff. Let's watch one more time in the intro. So every time I've watched that through, that wood creak just is yelling at me. It's so funny. It's so big. Of course, it's hard to look at this objectively because I designed all of these sounds, right? But it's cool. I mean, this is so heartwarming to see someone redesign all this stuff and do it in engine too. I don't know if this was, but I think one thing. Yeah, one thing that does stand out is a couple things. The ambience is pulling my ear a little bit here and there. It's like, I think there. It's kind of a tonal ambience. You hear it? Just be aware, or be careful about ambient, like bass, like ambient foundation tracks that are kind of tonal in quality, because the more it's just very unchanging, and that one tone has to cooperate with every sound and every piece of music in that same area. But B, because it's unchanging, it tends just to like sit and poke out a bit. If it's more like a soup, if it's like just moving around a bit quietly, it gives you less chance to like keep hearing it, you know, like the same damn thing. We one thing I do a lot in games like Celeste, I think in Tunic I did a lot more though. In Tunic we employed LFOs all the time on like every damn ambience track. So the ambience track might be like, or like, or something like that. But we just throw a little peak or two on like an Fmod track, right, or on the master, and then throw an LFO on that peak, so it's not anymore. Instead, now it's just up and down. You're just hearing that peak just slowly move, and it doesn't need to be high. It can be like just this, right? Just up and down, slowly, and then have like another one also moving, maybe a little higher, and they'll interact here and there. And you have this like ever-changing kind of content as opposed to being just this for all the time, right? This ambience is it's a little bit dangerous. It's also it's just like, what is that also? You know, it's sort of just unchanging and quiet, and it feels like it's there just like fill the void as opposed to like serving a purpose. But yeah, and here's where Oscar's like, but Kevin, I didn't redesign the ambience. It's the one they left in the game. It's mine. My bad. It's been so long, I forgot. The other thing I want to talk about here is low content in general. Like this fish burst, for instance. You kind of copied. Not a copy, but you followed my lead on that, like on that cloud, certainly. This burst, it's pretty like mid, like the high mid stuff, right? Being that kind of like powerful burst, having that weight and power, just in the operation of the thing, like the mechanic in the game. That kind of thing, I would lean into getting some bass like in there of some kind, just something to have a little more power attached to it. Because yeah, it's just kind of light as it is. And the thing is, there's also already a lot of like there's a lot of stuff in that space, that frequency range, like the dashing, right? I guess even the cloud is like a when you land on it. Yeah, it has that. So really, this series of sounds has a lot of similar frequency content. They aren't all the same focus, but as far as what's present, we have the cloud. We have a jump first, actually. So the jump, right, and then dash, and then a little jump, and then it's a lot of like noise-based stuff. The dash recharge crystal break thing is great. Stands out a little more. Has that kind of high content. The transients as well is nice. And the switches. We have the kind of the synthy tonal content. That's cool too. So we have these moments standing out. Just to talk about Celeste from a like design standpoint, like a design goals and like kind of philosophical standpoint in terms of game design and sound design. I mean, it's a game about movement, right? It's about moving through a space and telling a story. Like each room is telling a story, like what happened first, then, and then, and then, and then, and then, and we're at the end. And there's like big plot points in there somewhere, and there's smaller plot points. But the idea is we were hoping to kind of color those various plot points or flavor them in a way where we have their own identity as the story unfolds. It's not just like, it doesn't sound like the same thing happening repeatedly, or even like similar things happening repeatedly. So ideally, things like the wood plank standing out to Ben, I mean, it's true, but that was a great moment because we have all this like that kind of frequency-based stuff, and then that stands out so hard. And the idea of like all these things standing out, the reason that we did all the different footstep content for the different terrain and the wood planks and so forth is because of that whole like story-based game design philosophy. If you walk across 4 different surfaces, we want to hear those surfaces. The game's about moving through the space. We should hear that, right? So this is great. Of course. It's just a matter of using the various tools at your disposal. I mean, mainly in this case, Panorama is kind of taken care of. It's already an engine. You're good to go. But we have Panorama. We have the frequency range, right? And we have just balance, like the volume of stuff. So having volume turned up is a way to make things stand out, certainly. But I think varying up your frequency focus across this stuff can help a lot to kind of give each moment its own identity, its own personality, and just to help each of the words in this story just be just that. They are their own words in this story, right? They're their own separate words. It's not the same word over and over again. But honestly, all this is great. This is the kind of thing I would nitpick on a linear redesign, you know? But you're putting the work in. Like, you're going into Fmod and you're learning how this stuff is all put together and you're replacing stuff, etc. You're capturing it in game. It's fantastic. This is the kind of thing where this is typically the situation where we see some implementation demo, if it's in Unity or Unreal or something like Celeste, like something that someone has made available. And it's usually not as good as the person's linear work, and that's kind of okay. It's like acceptable and tolerable, because typically the reason that an implementation demo is in someone's reel at all is to just indicate, hey, this is something I'm interested in, and here's an indication of the work I've been doing. That's all that really matters. If it sounds amazing, then like, oh, bonus, but it kind of doesn't have to. It just needs to make sense. It needs to just operate as intended, and the better it sounds, the more you're going to stand out, of course, right? So this is already fantastic. This is really cool. I'm again thrilled that you have put the time in to utilize this thing. It's why it's out there in the world. That's great. It's right there. That little whistly thing is a great moment. It sounds like nothing else so far, right? It's cool. It's really tasteful. No complaints, honestly. It's great. As far as UI stuff, it's very nice. And Bo Emergency loves the transition. We were talking about that earlier. Cheeky jellyfish into the... It's all gliding, right? Cute. Yeah, the burst is one thing, because that's kind of like the payoff. Like, eyes closed, I don't super get like the break and the burst. It's like, yeah, but the UI is nice. It's cool. Yeah, the Hob thing, see, this is a fun redesign moment, because I love like articulating doors and mechanisms and stuff. It's always super fun to design, right? There's so much to latch onto for sound design. But it's like these here. It's like clack, clack, clack. Here. It's just one thing is that I feel like, how do I say this? Like this feels like the impactful, well, the moments at which there are impacts are covered, and they're kind of like the bigger considerations, like this thing stops or it lands or it moves or whatever. Like those are like the big things, and it stops moving or starts moving. The big waypoints are covered, But it's kind of the stuff in between, excuse me, that I feel like you could latch onto a little more. Like these little like rotating guys. You know? It's like clack, 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 and then it's like clack, 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 ka-tunk, tunk. There's not much in between. There's like a little bit of movement when the top part comes down. It's like ka-tunk, boom, boom. It's like a zoom. Slight pre-life before the impact. But like barely there. Otherwise, yeah, there's just like not a whole lot there. Then you have like this moment here. These are the kind of moments where when you look at designing this, I would encourage you not to just think of it from an angle of, okay, what moves where and when, and I'll go through my DAW timeline and like drop some markers to show like when the thing starts moving and when it stops moving and when this thing impacts that thing and so forth. That's all very important, certainly. But before you get there, I would encourage you to think about what is like the context of this situation, you know? It's not just that some stuff is moving, a door's opening. Like, what is this? There's moss growing. There's like vines growing in this stuff. How long has it been since this last moved? Has it ever moved? You know? And so you have moments like when this breaks, you have this lovely little like foliage rustle. It's like, it's very nice. But look at this like ka-chunk, you know? That right there? Like, what is that? It's like there's something underground, like within this structure, within this mechanism, something's going on that's caused these massive stone structured pieces to like go ka-chunk, you know? So it's not just this. This isn't doing anything. It's like it's very far away from this thing moving. There's clearly something going on behind the scenes. So this is where you can start digging into details of like world building and storytelling from an aspect of like, we can't see it, but now it's on you, sound designer hero, to roll in and tell us like what is happening that we can't see. And I would argue there's something big happening here. Like to have the power to move this stuff. Like who even built this, you know? It seems like they are some talented engineers or something. Kaboom. Like perhaps like some big these like activate some thing beneath the ground. Boom. And then you have some magic is in play. Who knows, right? There's like a lot of options here. But this moment of this stone stuff moving, like it kind of shakes back and forth. It's like something's been held in place and it's like, it's been released at last. And only then does it begin to move. We have like blasting sparks here. And I like that you kind of left space for the rising element to be louder than everything else. But I think you have room to like be loud and then come back down to make that loud moment, that loud rise still impactful. I don't think you'd lose anything by making the earlier parts loud. If it's like loud, 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 then yeah, that's not going to be great. But if you and like come down the volume as it slides away, as the camera focuses in, as it moves off to the left and right, we don't have that as much as a focus anymore. And then boom, we can have this little dip, little valley in the volume, and back up again as we rise back up. Yeah, that's great. There's definitely some room to dig in harder here. 'Cause you have like that. These are moving down. Click, click, click. Like you're hitting all the points that we can see. You know. Ka-chung, little disc, like little iris closes. But you're hyper focused on what you are seeing specifically, as opposed to what is actually happening. Like what's the story here, you know? And Hob is very mysterious. Like I don't think you need to know the story specifically, but you can make all kinds of implications regarding like what you think is happening. And it's a freaking sound redesign. Who cares? Do whatever you want. Right? It doesn't matter what's happening in Hob at that point. You can just do whatever you want in this case. And the start too. Do you see how it like jolts and then carries on? That further makes me feel like, oh, there's like some rust buildup or some moss buildup or stone debris or something. It's like it's kicking it clear, right? So it's not just that it's not like we're going to an alien spaceship. It's like perfect and pristine and clean and high tech. And you press the button, it's like done. It's like something's going on here. There's a lot of physicality at play. See, it's even like jolting as it goes around. It's not just a smooth movement. You see that? It's like... So you close your eyes. It's like... Yeah, Alex, totally. So I was kind of getting at that earlier. The sliding stones make them seem smaller than they are. Everything is heavy and large. So while we probably do want to leave room for this to be massive and bassy and stuff when it rises up, there is for sure room to increase the weight here and then like bring that weight down in the mix as it becomes less the focus, and then bring the weight of the rising element back up again. Cool. That was fun. This is a fun one to talk about. There's a lot of options here as far as what you can do with it. It's pretty like bite-sized too. It's not too crazy for a design piece to work on. Lovely, thank you. And I love this clip. I think that you're doing a pretty good job here, a better job certainly than some of your other clips, of mixing up your frequency focus. We have the kind of the sharp edge of the blade, and we have the big impact of the ting, even the ting there, the doo and the ting. We have the boom, big bass, and ting, like big high up, ring out, very nice. Right, also the in. Big pre-life on the two. Yeah, so there's like, I think you still have more room yet to change up, to close your eyes and say to yourself, can I tell exactly what's happening? Can I tell if it's the protagonist doing something or this antagonist, like the boss, doing something? Is it kind of blurring? Because like the impact here. So the shots are obviously us, right? Then this attack, the kind of black and red thing, is kind of characterless, you know? It's just, it's kind of like generic whooshy stuff. Not to be mean, but it's not like the guns are pretty identifiable, you know? But the it's just sort of like it's just whatever. There's no like solid contour. It's just like a blob of audio, you know? Sometimes all you need is a blob of audio, but in this case, I think there's room to be a little more specific with it. Like that 1, 2, 3 up, down. I hear all that, you know? Listen to this. Like I'm gonna hide the display. Listen to this attack sequence. Right? You hear all of it. Totally. One more time. It's like woo, woo. Even the whoosh. That's really mature too, actually, Oscar. Nice work. Is like this up and down. Oh, sorry, over here. Woo, woo. That woo, woo. A lot of people will be like woo, woo, on both those attacks, but they're different attacks, you know? Woo, woo. Up and down. Super cool. Okay. Yeah, my complaints on this one are very similar to the rest of your clips. So I'll leave it alone. But awesome work, great sound redesign in this case. Love it. I think if this team saw this, they'd be like, cool, nice work, thanks. It's already 1:07. God, I'm talking about articulating mechanisms beneath the ancient tower structure too long. I want to see this briefly, okay? I'm gonna go to the web page though, or the YouTube page, because this is bad.
Hi, I'm Oscar. I'm going to talk about some of the sound redesign and Fmod implementation.
Holy! This is sick. Let's watch it.
Hi, I'm Oscar. I'm going to talk about some of the sound redesign and Fmod implementation I did for Celeste. Now, I was obviously not going to redesign the whole game, but I set a goal for myself to redesign a whole sub-chapter so that you would really get the feel for gameplay. And also because I really just enjoy the process.
No demo dash, eh?
So apart from menus, I've redesigned every single sound that can be heard throughout the sub-chapter remembered in Celeste's final chapter, Farewell. I even designed this Easter egg car in one of the rooms. The implementation for this project was not done from scratch, although I do have examples of that as well on my website. Since the template of the Fmod project already was in place and I did not have access to the source code, the implementation was quite straightforward, replacing sound files where the old ones used to be. Because of this, I instead spent most of my effort in the sound design process. The vast majority of sounds I recorded or synthesized myself, with occasional help from sound libraries where I felt it was necessary. Synth especially played a big role in the overall sound palette, with a lot of pitch automation to convey movement.
There's that wood creak, huh?
Thanks to Kevin and the rest of the Power Up Audio team for releasing the Fmod project, as well as making the incredible sound design of the original game.
Oh, settle down.
Also thanks to Maddie and Extremely OK Games for making Celeste. And here's what the game would have sounded like if I was the sound designer for it. Enjoy!
It's well performed too. Like you're given sound space to breathe as you move through the levels. You know? This gameplay, huh? Jeez. We'll jump. Very nice. The arrow block is a tricky one to redesign. There's a lot going on there. Let's hear it. Full sequence, please. Pretty sick. Pretty sick, Oscar. Thank you so much. That's so damn cool. I'm actually gonna share this with the XOK team. I'll leave this tab open. 100%. 100%. So damn cool. Damn hired, says says me seat. Yeah, not bad. It is like 112. Jake, are you here right now? That's my question. I'm waiting so. I'm spending way too long on Oscar here. Maybe that's a good indication of the value he's bringing to this stream right now. If Jake's here, I feel bad. If Jake's not, I don't feel as bad. But I still want to get to Jake. Let's close this. Yeah, standing out, Oscar. Nice work. A lot of like small things to deal with here and there. You're obviously putting the time in. It's awesome. Well done. Whoa, what's happening here? Oh, the zoom in is making the page crazy. Okay, yeah, well done, Oscar. Killer. Keep doing what you're doing. You're putting the time in, that's for sure. Jake Mulholland, sound designer. June 2023. Here it is. Okay, how long is it? Let's see. 102. Wonderful. Soundest idea. Sound idea. Like sound ideas? Excuse me. All right, so let's read. I'm gonna zoom out a bit. It's a weird page. Yeah, the zooming is not very friendly is one thing, Jake. Just be aware. Be aware. Hi, my name is Jake Mulholland, and I am a sound designer with a passion for audio in... What did I just say? Right? I just said in the last bio that everyone says this. Not to be mean, Jake, sorry. I'm a sound designer with a passion for audio and video games and movies. Oof. I've built a portfolio of custom mods, character voices, sound redesigns, and other content for games, which are showcased below. I enjoy using Reaper, Wise, and other industry software to create immersive experiences for players. My creative focus is primarily stylized realism with some fantasy elements. Jake, this bio needs some love. My friend needs some serious love. This is telling me almost nothing about you. This, I learned your name, which I already knew from the website and up here. And I learned that you are a sound designer with a passion for audio and video games, which, I mean, if you're applying to a job, you can assume that every single person applying would claim that, you know? So it's not really telling me about you. And then the and movies thing is, if you're looking for a gig in games, it is, of course, just fine to like movies or like audio for movies. But if this is a website geared towards working in the game space, then just ditch this. Just focus all in on your game aspirations, okay? I built a portfolio of custom mods, character voices, and sound redesigns for other content for games. Showcased below. I mean, again, we can assume that this person seeing your page is familiar with the idea of a portfolio, and your demo reel should do the job of showing what you've got going on, the kind of things that you are showcasing, because they're not going to read this before they watch this. So if they watch this and see your custom mods, character voices, and sound redesigns, and then you tell them, they're like, oh, damn, Jake's is pretty good. I'll learn some more. And they scroll down and they read your bio, and you're just telling them what they already know. This is wasted time, you know? Ideally, you should be thinking of, or I would encourage you to think of every second this person who might hire you for a gig, every second they're on your page is a second that you are utilizing in an effective and deliberate manner. If you are putting things like redundancies into your bio, that is a waste of their time, and you're going to lose control on what they're doing. If you have a bio that is riddled with things that are specifically about you, and like your interest in games and what you do in sound specifically, you like stylized realism, like what do you record? Do you play in a band? Have you anything about you specifically that you think might be relevant to the job, and even some that aren't as relevant. I mean, we have, not to compare you against Oscar, but we just have this open right now, right? The about, we've got things like favorite albums. This is not the kind of thing that needs to be in the main bulk of the bio. But it's here, and this person like loves, they happen to love, like, oh my God, car seat headrest. It's my jam, Then you just open up possibilities for conversation there. Yeah, and then I enjoy using Reaper, Wise, and other industry software. Like, this is so vague. Other industry software. Like, industry software is also like a weird. This feels like. Yeah, I don't hear this term ever. I understand what you're saying, but it's just kind of weird to read it in a bio. Because, like, again, if you're working in game audio, I assume you know some industry software. Because we've already watched your demo reel, and there's sounds in there. So how'd you make them if not with industry software, And again, this is like mind you, your specific tools are something, certainly. We'll have occasionally some person will have like their bio, and they'll put at the bottom like my gear or my tools, just as a little like side effect or a side note thing, kind of like favorite games, whatever. And that feels like a better place for Reaper, unless you want to talk about like your time. And I've been using Pro Tools for 10 years and recently swapped to Reaper, and I'm having a great time with it. Like, you want to say that kind of thing. I worked in film for a long time using Pro Tools exclusively, and I'm now working in games. I'm using Reaper. I love it. I am learning Wise as well. Like, these kind of things, like, they're specific to your journey, are a little more interesting, a little more like bio worthy. But just saying you enjoy software is like, yeah, again, every person applying for this job knows industry software and enjoys using it, Okay, so now it's a little bit more about you, that you like stylized realism and some fantasy elements. So what games like Witcher or something? Like CD Projekt stuff? We're going to see some cyberpunk in this reel? We'll see. My portfolio. I'm going to zoom out because I can't see these things. Sorry, everyone at home. We got Dead by Daylight, some Ready or Not. I guess that's stylized realism, I guess, A little bit, I suppose. Fallout 4, Killing Floor 2, Hitman 3, Transformers. These all look like linear redesigns, as far as I can tell, right? Oh, here's a full mod. So this is not just a redesign, this is a mod of the game. That's cool. So it says here, a full overhaul of the voice lines present in the game, Ready or Not. Updated match voice lines extracted from the game Half-Life Alyx. This mod features 1,000 lines of context-specific and modified dialogue to bring a completely new feeling and experience to the game. Okay, sure. Fun. And Alex calls out about me as a lowercase m, but my portfolio is hellacase. That you are correct. There you go. Capital M, capital P, A and M. Why not? Why not? We got YouTube. These aren't links? Jake, you madman. Oh, this is a link. It's a mail to link. This isn't, though. And this one is. Oh, but it's info@mysite.com. Mail to info@mysite.com. That can't be right. Is that right? Mysite.com? This screams template with a field not replaced with your information, Jake. And this one has the same thing. Mail to info@mysite.com. Yeah, this needs some love. These aren't links. And they aren't right. The ones that are links aren't the right links. So be aware. Need those. And this contact me goes where? Nowhere? Oh, it goes to the bottom. Oh, it goes to the thing that we just established doesn't do anything. So, okay. So this is that. Oh, we have this too actually. These go somewhere. These are correct over here. That's good. But the ones down at the bottom are not. These are just wrong. So let's go zoom in, full screen, sidechain off, and volume up, and press play. All right, thank you, Jake. I'm gonna do something here. Yeah, I was right. So there's a click right here. You hear it? So the very first thing. Hey, Carly Shank. Good to see ya. It's been a while. Hope you're well. Oh, okay. So the very first thing we hear is an absence of a fade, which is real unfortunate, Jake. You know, the literal first sample of this reel is an error, and that's brutal. You got to fix that. It's got to be addressed. So on presentation, we got 1:02. I admit around 28 seconds, maybe 30, I was like, okay. I was kind of ready to skip ahead a little bit or just check what the time was. But because I knew it was 1:02, I was willing to watch the whole thing, if that makes sense. Which I know isn't like high praise. I understand that. But the length is just it makes it way more okay when you're not quite as engaged as might be ideal when you're watching a reel. If you know it's short, you're like, okay, no worries, I'll watch the whole thing. But around here, I was kind of losing a bit of interest. So let's talk about this here. I mean, it's got the kind of the teal. Is that teal? Is that right? This color, like turquoise, cyan. It's teal. We have that kind of color scheme across the whole page, so it's kind of cool. It's in your reel also. It's not a mind-blowing intro, but it's fine. It's good. I kind of wish that this wasn't here first. You know? Like, this is the addendum to your name, is it not? But it's here instantly. Got a cool little animation popping in, and this is just here the whole time. It's been like, nah, look at me, man, look at me. This fade in at the end, why not? Or like even only your website. These things can be website or email, both. Like YouTube also is kind of weird to include here, because we're watching your video right now on YouTube, you know. So to have the YouTube link is kind of extra. I mean, right? Isn't it? Okay, we got Fallout 4, Bethesda Game Studios. I mean, the classic, your lower thirds are very low and large. Think about weight of titling. I mean, we got the classic, if he's still in the room. Maybe he is. I never do this, Josh. Only because you're here, okay? Right, isn't this nice? Look at this waiting. Ugh. Be still, my heart. Be still. It's just so nice. Compare this, right, to this. Just the big ass letters and the positioning in space and the sameness from the title of the game to the studio to what you did. It's just not the most thought out presentation of what you did. Also, it goes away right away, and that's just classic error. It's got to stay up. Do the Speedrun method, yo. Like it's just there's no downside, right? Skip ahead. It's like halfway faded out. It's the best. The best. So it carries on. We have a transition here. Just a transition. Okay, nothing too special there. This is even lower this time. So this is not only low and competing with UI, it is also inconsistent with the previous clip, right? Because this one was like here, and then it's down there now. So be aware of that. Consistency is important. And this one's down low again. And then the last one is down low again. So we have more consistency, but also just sort of sub-ideal stuff. Nemesis. Why is there a hyphen nemesis here? Is Colin still in the room? Dognet, are you there? Nemesis is like the name of the villain in DBD, right? So is this like saying it's Nemesis Sanazine or something? I don't know. I'm not sure why that word nemesis is there. Okay, and the end is... Oh, geez, and then here. Yeah, early cut there too. So the same sudden start and early cut also. So the fades are not great. Also, in terms of sync, it's kind of strange here, isn't it? Like, it just isn't synced to the reversal of this. Just goes away. It feels very, this feels very loose. You know, it is almost bordering on feeling like a mistake, which is not where you want to be, you know? So for material selection stuff, we have Bethesda, we got Tripwire, we got Treyarch, right? And we got Infinity Ward and Behavior. These are all pretty AAA teams. Yeah, Jake, you got some work ahead of you for sure as far as how you're putting this stuff together. It's just you're going to be outgunned by a lot of people who are applying for the same gigs, for those studios especially. It just is the matter. It's the reality with this industry. So all these details. I mean, I'm pretty sure I sent you a GDC talk with all the kind of common issues that come into play and stuff. And a lot of these things just like aren't addressed, you know? So it's just too bad that that we're here talking about some broad stroke stuff. We could be digging into some more details, but such is life. So let's talk about some detail stuff though. As far as content goes. Yeah, it's like fine. I don't super know what was happening. Guys, don't play Fallout. I haven't played Fallout 4. But it's like, and go, ignition. Yeah, the kind of clack-to-clack stuff at the end is maybe a bit loud, but it's cool. One thing to consider here is the alarm. Classic idea with alarms we've talked about before on Real Talk is you bring it down over time, volume-wise. Yeah, Ben, exactly. There's a lot of cool design you're doing here, but the alarm's like, look at me, look at me, look at me, listen to me. So you can introduce the alarm, either just have it quieter on the whole or start loud if you feel strongly about having the alarm out there in front, and then bring it down over time. Or bring it out entirely, you know, just fade it down. So you can bring the stuff that's happening over time is more important to the changing story, the evolving story. That can be at the front of the mix and not this alarm that we already know is there and we don't need to be reminded of. So this clip and why I kind of... Yeah, Sean, man, I didn't want to say that, but now that you are, 100%, I wanted to see this thing go in there. Isn't that where it's going? Seems like it's the right shape, you know? And then, is the full design somewhere else? Can we watch this? Fallout 4, is it here? If it's not in this clip, I'm gonna lose. Okay, it looks long. Here we go. That same abrupt ending. It's just like a small detail that really doesn't feel good. It's like hard cut. Just feels unprepared, you know? It feels like you had to rush to put this thing up, and it's not quite in a state you want us to see it in. Cool. I mean, the sound design's cool, you know? I feel like, honestly, it feels like my perception of your sound design work is being influenced by presentation stuff, which is too bad, because I think this is quite strong. If it was presented with a little more care, I think I would be viewing it more favorably, which is just like psychological stuff, right? It's not even like real. However, this is real. This clip I kind of had enough of. It was like before it was over, like halfway through, I was like, all right. It's a lot of feet and a lot of chainsaw, and there's some like stuff. You know, if I close my eyes and watch this clip, I'm not really getting movement at all, which is too bad. Like some movement of this. You have the voice in there. If you're designing the voice, throw the voice on the attacks too, right? On like the swings, why not? And some on the swings. It's just the chainsaw is like the entire sound. And then that's it. There's no real movement there. And then feet are huge. Let's know how loud the feet are. If we are to believe the feet are that big, then why can't we hear anything else in the movement, you know? Like those feet we didn't hear. But he's on it way harder. He's like stomping. Coming in for the attack. There's just some inconsistency here as far as what we're hearing and what you're telling us, what you're insisting to us is audible and how loud things are versus other moments where it just isn't the case. So there's some work to be done here to smooth things out and have us hear some details and etc. So this one here is, I mean, I'm never a big fan of like gunshots in isolation in reels because I like the story being told a little more than just this. However, it is nice when it's like a full articulation of a reload and stuff. It's better. And I know some studios do like to see this, so. Yeah, I'm not really qualified to like weigh in on like what guns sound like, so I'll skip that one. DBD. Cool Foley. Nice feet. Gross hand. Blech. It's cool. That feels like your latest design. It feels more mature than the Killing Floor 2 clip. It's cool. I don't super know what happened. Like, you're just striking your tentacles for fun? Like I think in general here, Jake, is the clips you've chosen just don't really have any payoff. You know, it's not even about the content, like what you've designed, the quality of your sound design. It's like we have this first clip where the thing moves towards a thing and then doesn't do anything, you know, and the full articulation is long. It's a long sequence. It's not the best fit for a sound redesign, like for a demo reel. It's a cool redesign piece in general, but like for a demo reel, it's tough because it's just so long, right? Like maybe you could like cut from the bam, start like the click and bam, and like crossfade to the moment it's already over there and like going in and doing stuff. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to make it work. But the point is, my first thought when you crossfaded away, I was like, oh, we don't get to see it. It's like, and ready. Comes to a rest, and we're somewhere else now. So that happens. In this case, we just see this guy chasing us for a while. And nothing happens. He like walks up, swings his chainsaw, walks up, swings chainsaw, walks up, swings chainsaw, and then we're somewhere else. And then this gunshot, we're firing at nothing, right? It's just like it's an isolation gun piece, shot, reload, we're done. So nothing happens here either. And then in this one, I was gearing up for like, oh, sweet. I know DBD. My brother's played like 1,000 hours this game. So we have this clip. We walk into the house. Oh man, what's going to be in the house? I see a survivor, you know? And then, nope, not going that way. We go into this room where there's nothing here. And then we attack like the floor. You know, it's just so weird. The whole demo reel just doesn't really show us anything. And it's not like I'm being a diva, like, oh, entertain me. You know, it's not that. It's that if you are making a demo reel, the goal of this thing is to indicate that you are the best candidate for a given job position, right? That's why this thing exists. That's the intent. So part of that is showing your aptitude and sensibilities when it comes to interactive media and storytelling in games. So if all your clips fall short of the story being told, it's like there's no story. You get here and nothing happens. You walk up and nothing happens. You shoot at nothing. You strike at nothing, right? Like nothing's going on. So it's hard. It's not just that it's like not entertaining and like kind of a bit like a rug pull, like, oh, nothing happened, sorry. It's not just that. It's that you're kind of underserving yourself. Like you've got these opportunities to show that you understand the full breadth of a sequence, but you're showing us like 2/3 of it each time. So we never see the finish. So it makes it harder just to, and the thing is, whether the person watching this is actively aware of this or not, it makes it harder to judge whether you just have that understanding and like that foothold in the game space to understand like when I strike a character, I need to have like audio feedback to know the efficacy of an attack. If it landed, if it didn't land. In this case, I hit nothing, but it was like so damn powerful, right? Like this hit. What's that sound like when I hit something that matters? You know, I hit the floor. So it's, if we had the floor and then something that matters, we can compare and contrast. If that sounds the same, I'd be like, oh, well, come on, Jake. Like this is, we've got room to mix things up a bit to tell the player, hey, you're playing well, or oh, didn't quite hit the mark that time, you know? So we just the pieces you've chosen are just like, it's like incomplete information. It's hard to tell what you've got, like what your skill set and understanding looks like. I just don't know. And it's a weird problem. This is a strange and unique kind of situation in this demo reel of just there being no payoff. And I don't know. I think it's a matter of like moving around like the clips you've chosen in terms of not like the order of them, but like the parts you're showing of the full piece. You know, like is there? The last thing I want to watch is. Let's see this. Oh, this is the same clip. Oh, we've talked about that. Don't put the same clip in your portfolio that's already in your demo reel. You're wasting people's time. And there just isn't a Dead by Daylight. Oh, here it's here. Here we go. And we strike the floor, and then what? What happens? Oh, it's a hard cut. With no fade. That's too bad. Jake, do something, man. Do something in the game and show us, like, it's one thing to show your sound in isolation like that. I get it. You're showing like the single weapon articulation or whatever, but like, it's never going to be as effective as showing like, if your player is in the thick of it in gameplay, what does that sound like? Like, what information are you delivering to them? How's the mix changing over time depending upon their situation, their context, the action taking place? It's all so important. Like, it's just so funny, man, that I want to see something happen and you're just not showing us like repeatedly. Just there's got to be some connective. It's just so nice when you have. I'm gonna give you an example right now. Here we had on the show, really recently, Jack Bell, right? And just like springs to mind. If it'll load. It'll load for us? There we go. It's being slow on us here. So like Jack Bell, his reel. This is worth watching, okay? I'm gonna watch the whole thing one time, just because this is a we don't talk about this a whole lot on Real Talk. It doesn't happen very often, but like the full story is important. So we've landed, the door opens, and our little bot friend is like on his merry way. The environment changes. He has arrived on the surface. That is a full story, you know? This is just an interstitial piece to show like some implementation stuff. Same thing for Soul City, but the thing I'm thinking about is the clip coming up. This one here. Shot, dog barks. Sees house, walks through foliage, opens door. These are all like pointing the story, yeah? Walks in, ambient change, grabs thing, goes downstairs. Uh-oh. Something's gonna happen. We slip and fall. Someone hears us. Oh no, conflict coming in. And dude arrives, dead. Like, what a sequence. That's the full sequence, right? Like, comparing that is who you're up against in terms of the people looking for these jobs, Jake. It's not like I'm saying like, oh, you know, like Jack Bell's better. That's not what I'm saying. It's like that these are, it's not just about the ability in sound design. It's like, it's how you are packaging your work. It just matters so much. And it tells so much. Like the fact that Jack had that piece and designed that whole thing, and like that was the redesign selection, that they put the piece selected for the redesign. It just shows that he gets the idea of storytelling. He doesn't need to put in his bio like, I like storytelling. It's not important. We understand that just from watching the demo reel one time. So anyways, I'm ranting for like 25 minutes here. I'm gonna stop. I'm ranting too much. Yeah, Jake, I mean, there are some pretty large things to address here. You are not standing out in a crowd just yet. I mean, you put a lot of work in. Obviously, you're doing a lot of redesign work here. But just in terms of the pieces selected, you got to think from a storytelling aspect, from a gameplay aspect. Think from that perspective. And yeah, just all these details we mentioned, like the email stuff and the lack of fades between clips and the no fade to start your demo reel and et cetera, the lowercase m. Just all these details stack up in a big way. And they don't mean you aren't a good sound designer. They just mean that somebody else is going to look less risky and they're going to get the job. That's it. You'll be dead in the water. So thank you, Jake, for getting on stage. All right. Back to King's Quest, right? Oh, yeah. I try not to rant. I just care. You know, like I care a lot, and I want people to like not work so hard for no payoff. You gotta work hard and get that job, right? Just work smart. Gotta make smart choices. Okay, if anyone wants to have their own work reviewed on Real Talk, please submit down below, powerupaudio.com, and for the time being at least on Twitter, powerupaudio and RegMK, and we will schedule you in. I think the next slots are in like December or something, so it's definitely a bit of a wait, but it leaves time to work on your stuff, and deadlines are very helpful as far as getting stuff done, right? So why not? And I will see you in 2 weeks' time, I believe. Is that right? Let's see. What's the date right now? The 20th. Yeah. We'll see you the 20th. Thanks a lot.